Hello and welcome. If you are actually joining me, I don't know what I'm doing. I just thought I'm busy tomorrow night. I know consistency is like important in social media stuff, but I don't care. I just want to draw. Hi JC Harris. So, firstly, let me just tell you, RSI is not fun, but I'm doing much better. And my physio has said it's good to do what I usually do, but in shorter bursts. So tonight I'm just going to do half an hour, maybe, of drawing. And hopefully I'll be okay. I'm going to stop if it hurts. Don't worry. Don't stress about me, okay? Let's get into it. As usual, feel free to ask any questions you like. Happy to answer them. I've got a I don't know, it's my own sort of cocktail. Gin, Aperol, and tonic. So it's like a gin and tonic with Aperol. Anyway, I'll stop being funny. So, a while ago, before I injured my arm, I did a life drawing session with Russell Bruner through Top Secret Life Drawing. Daddy does love his gin. Through Top Secret Life Drawing, it's not linked in the description yet, but I'll fix that up later. These were like the 2-minute ones. This was, this I actually fixed up, so when I first did the initial sketch, it wasn't this well done. This was like, I think, a 10-minute or something. So was this, and then we had this one, and lastly this one. Now I've already started working up this one, which I'll show you in a second, but I want to actually work up this one. So what I'm going to do is just copy the line layer. So I've just got the lines here. Maybe, I wonder if I can copy both. I don't think I can. So here's the other one I've been working on, which is coming along. I think it's looking quite cute. So I think I want to do similar, maybe I should do opposite colors. That could be good. Maybe if I do a blue. Blue background maybe. I'll push it into the turquoise because I love that. How is the arm? So the arm is still recovering, but I've been told I can do things that I would normally do, but just try and do it in shorter bursts. So I'm limiting myself to half an hour. I'm checking the timer every so often. But over the weekend I had it taped up, which I think really helped. Oh, I need to take my anti-inflammatories. 1 second. Excuse me. Yeah, so I'm just working on something tonight so that I don't go insane from not being able to do stuff. Sorry, just gotta. Anyway, let's actually I'm just going to make the background a bit lighter while I'm working on it, so I can see and you can see. I'll just quickly try this trick, but I don't think it'll work because my artwork's too sketchy. Oh, yeah, that's okay. That's something. No, not there. That's something, that'll help me out. At least doing a bit of fill there. So, what's new in my world, if you haven't been following my Instagram, is that I've done some actual life modeling poses myself for the lovely Jean-Luc. And I'm hoping to eventually do some proper sessions, but I thought I could at least just talk about it tonight because it was really fun. It was a fun experience. But interestingly, I find it interesting compared to taking photos of yourself. Usually with life drawing, you're just sitting there. You can't necessarily see yourself, so there's no sort of, there's a little bit less, I think, this is personal opinion obviously, but I think there's a little bit less what's the word? Self-reflection. No, that's not right. There's a little bit less intimidation, because you can't actually see all your bits and flabs and whatever else. So there is a point where you're just like, oh, I'm just naked and someone's drawing me, and that's all it is really. Whereas when you're taking photos of yourself, you're forced to look at yourself, which can be a bit more intimidating. That's the word, intimidating. And I think, so when I get models to pose for my Big Boy series, particularly because it was during lockdown, they had to take photos of themselves. And, you know, initially that was just because it was easier. But thinking about it a bit more, I think it's actually a good thing. Because in a way, yes, you do see all your bits and your things that you want to hide, but it also desensitizes you to that a little bit. Even if it's just a tiny bit, I think that's a positive thing to happen. So, Russell just had such a good look, like just such a cool, great character look, you know, like I think that's why it was so easy to draw him. So I blocked in my color, like so. You might notice that I've actually used the background color to do the things that I consider or am making black or white, in the sense of like grey scale. I just tend to do that so that it feels like the whole picture has a tone to it, which if I was doing photography, I'd say the white balance, but I think it's a different thing with illustration work. But it's essentially same sort of principle. I'm sort of deciding that the light has a bluish tone to it. So therefore anything that's actually white, I'm pushing into the blues a little bit. How are we going? Far out, 15 minutes. I'm not going to get much done. And to be honest, I'm already feeling it in my arm, so I shouldn't push it, but I'll keep going. promise I'll be kind to my body. I don't know why, but I do this thing where I really emphasize the roundness of the eye sockets. It's just something that I like to do. I suppose it's a stylistic choice. Little tip with faces is that we always expect, ignore my face right now because I've got a light coming down. Actually, I'll stick it up here. We kind of always expect these bits to be darker, but really they're lighter usually because the shadow is coming down that bit. See how this like where my lip joins my nose, it's actually lighter. Anyway. It's just a bit of anatomy that I find interesting. The other one that I find weird, actually, and I tend to not do as much, is that often this bit is, that bit there is lighter as well. I tend to miss that out though, or do something different. I'm pretty sure his eyes are brown, but I'm glad my skills haven't gone down since I've been so off. Another helpful tip: do your eyeball colour in something that's not pure white, because then once you do go to pure white, you can get these cool highlights. Yay! And then he doesn't look like a dead cow. His eyes look a little bit too dark there. Looks like he's got eyeshadow on, which he probably did on, to be honest, but I'd rather him look a little bit more natural. How are we going for time? 20 minutes. Let's say I started a bit late anyway. Those lips are way too huge. Why does it look like he's pursing his lips when he wasn't? That's better. I'm not going to get anywhere near finished with this in the time allotted, but oh well. Actually, you know what I'm remembering right now is that he had gloves on. That's why I did his fingers quite fat. Initial sketch. Not quite happy with his fingers on the hand underneath, but can fix it later. Just blocking in some of the shadows. I've come so far with my anatomy purely by just drawing it a lot. I highly recommend life drawing if you want to get into figure drawing. It doesn't have to be, you know, realistic. It can just be inspiration. And actually that's why I like the one that I go to, Top Secret Life Drawing, is because the organizer is very creative with the way he runs it, and has very creative things happening. Like this guy's a burlesque performer from the US, I'm gonna say. Yeah. Part of me feels like Canada is the right answer, but I don't want to offend anyone. Anyway, and it was awesome. And Top Secret Life Drawing, they also do cool, like, performance-based life drawing. So they'll have a scene that performers will act out a little, story, and then they'll hold a pose for you to draw. So you've got, it's not just it's not just learning what's like Agatha. You mean from WandaVision? You've confused me now. Anyway, it's not just, studying a body. It's actually like just inspiration. So any artist can just interpret it and take it however they want. I mean, my anatomy is not perfect, and I don't actually want it to be. And I mean, to be honest, I made Russell a bit buffer than he actually was. I accentuated the buffness. Actually, that's something else about posing. Posing for life drawing. The artists are gonna make you look good. Like, they might draw something and it could be a terrible drawing, but you're gonna look good. Like, they're not gonna, unless they're going for absolute 100% accurate portrayal of what you look like, which is very rare, I think, especially in these kind of sessions. But they're gonna portray you in an artistic, but in a pleasing manner. Because they're there to draw something that they like. They're not there to draw something that they hate. So when you do see the artwork that they produce, it's going to be good. So you're not going to have to worry. Whereas a photo, that doesn't interpret you in a pleasing light all the time. And I would argue that you should roll with that. You should push that. If that's what you want to do, if that's what you're trying to do. How are we going for time? 30 minutes. Let's say another 10, because I didn't start right on 0. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to darken everything. Because I just want to add a bit of lighting to make things interesting. And I'm going to, so just for your benefit, I'm going to have, I'm going to draw this for your benefit. I'm going to have a basic light coming from the front, going this sort of way. And then I'm going to have something sort of back here that's probably going to be blue, I think, going this way. from the back, if that makes sense. So we've got the front light, we might need some shadow from that, maybe not too harsh, but and this is from the backlight. So they're essentially opposite each other. That's my my idea. Sometimes I like to just put some colour on the skin before I actually start drawing in the colour. I actually learnt about a new way to light things, and I should look that up and try that again, but can't be bothered right now. It was more about like doing cartoony sort of colouring. Lighting, sorry, not colouring. I'm going to push it a bit. It's always good to remember that things have a 3D shape. So rather than just doing lines like this around the edges of things, like if you actually like make shapes in there, sometimes they can just be random and it still looks good. This is a bad example. That doesn't look good. But if you actually think about where the light hits, rather than thinking about doing an outline, it really helps. For instance, I think the light will be thinner on that bit, but thicker on the bicep, tricep, whatever that is there. Clearly I don't know my anatomical names. I also like to push it a little bit. I think that makes it more artistic. Like it makes it more fantastical, you know. When you push the lighting, I think. Anyway. See, this already looks a bit too much. white sort of makes it look like a highlight, but then the blue gives it that sort of colour to the light. I don't know if I've achieved that. Let's try this. Just going to try and do some shading with a clipping mask instead of a. Let's get this. Okay, why isn't this working? What's going on? Oh, black. Okay. That's a fail. It might be okay if I just make it not so intense. Alright, I'm gonna stop right now. Right now. 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 Thanks for joining me. I know it was a bit of a surprise thing, but I actually I'm kind of busy tomorrow, so I wasn't going to be able to do it tomorrow night, unfortunately. Anyway, I'm going to leave it. Stop working on it, Stephen. Put the pen down. Thanks, JC Harris. Have a lovely evening. Yeah, I'm sure you'll see Russell pop up on Instagram.